All right, and we're back here with Kevin Sedatole, Michigan State University, who's just been working with Easton Area High School on Samuel Hazo's Arabesque. They seem to really like the piece.
Every band I've ever worked with on this piece likes this piece because everyone has a very interesting part.
Oh yes.
It's got great rhythmic drive. I've told Sam this before. It's just a really terrific piece.
It is. Well, the percussion really seem to know their parts quite well.
They do.
You
and they
commented how they're watching the conductor.
Yeah. Well, he told their conductor told me they've only been working on this for like 2 rehearsals.
Really?
That's pretty remarkable,
Wow.
I think. So.
And they already seem to have at least a good initial grasp on the stylistic considerations. That Middle Eastern sound.
No question. And when they have more time and they can work more, you'll notice I'm not really working much on the technique because it's not appropriate to do that right now.
Sure.
They will do that on their own. It just needs to be slowed down and get some of it, but it's not terrible. It just needs a little bit more work on it. Right. That's the interesting thing about that when they're 16th note runs, but every now and then you get a couple of 30-second notes, and it's more like ornaments. Right. But when they see that, they tense up because it looks really hard. It's not really that hard. They just need to spend some time with it and get used to it. So,
no, absolutely, and we noticed that even in the adult concert band I play in, every now and then we were grasping with that a little bit on, I can't remember what the piece was we were working the other night, and we were rushing the 30-second notes because there's just that tendency to do that.
Yeah.
You see that and you kind of go into that. So it was neat to see you working on some of the breathing and the phrasing and really working on bringing the musicality out, and getting them to think in those terms.
Well, it's I'm not saying this about this band because I think they sound great, but a lot of times it's the last thing that we think about, and sometimes it needs to be the first thing we think about. Is that the technique is there to serve the music, and so for me to think, I'm trying to think musically, and I will deal with the technique as I need to. That's not. I mean, that's kind of pie in the sky a little bit. But if more people thought about that, along with while they're working technique, there's no reason why it can't be done together.
Right. Well, and the comment you made to them was it helps you sound more mature.
Right.
And that instantly is a way to increase what a group's
doing. The younger the group, the more breaths they take, and the more obvious breaths they take. Big breaths, breaths kind of, they show an immaturity sometimes because we're learning how to play the instruments.
Right.
I remarked to them that symphony orchestras can go on for forever. You never even know where wind players are taking a breath because they mask them so well. I remember watching Joe Alessi teach breath, and he's taking breaths when he's alone that that's chopping the phrase up. But when you put it in the orchestra and the decisions he's made and he knows what his sound is going to do, you never even hear it. Wow. So it's mainly they just have to make some decisions about how to stagger the breathing amongst multiple players to where not everybody's breathing at the same time. Right. That way they cover the sound, and it makes the music seem to have more line, basically.
Good. So what's next in here now that we're going to see? What direction are you going to go next?
Well, we're going to finish the piece up, and then I'm going to ask them to move on to the Alfred Reed Hounds of Spring because they've been working on that longer, so I want to see where that level if we can boost that up a little bit as well. So these kids are great. They're very attentive, and they're not shy to answer, and they have great answers. Actually, the band before that I was working with, they had terrific answers. But this one had all the right answers. I was going to go sit down. They already knew it. So.
Great. Well, I'm sure there's lots they're going to learn from you here on this second half. So
we'll see.
We'll let you get back in there and start working with it again.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we're going to go back into the hall with the Eastern Area High School, Carol Luty, the director, and see what Dr. Sedatole has in store for them next. A little bit more time on the Hazo Arabesque, a rather new piece written in 2008, written actually for a high school all-state honor band for the Indiana Bandmasters Association. And then, as Dr. Sedatole mentioned, he's going to spend a little more time on the Alfred Reed Hounds of Spring, a real classic, real staple of the repertoire. So it'll be great to see what he does with that and how the band responds.